1953 Panhead with a sidecar. I've been working on it for 22 years, finished it off this year, and started off as in 1997, bought a bunch of parts on a garage floor, and in the mix of it there was a frame, there was a set of engine cases and a set of heads, and a few small assorted parts. In the next 22 years I ended up spending countless hours and money finding the parts. The biggest thing I wish I would have done was got on it quicker. But when you're trying to find original parts, that stuff doesn't come up every day. A lot of it was because I just let the parts kind of come to me, and I found them locally. Just, you know, from the spotlights to the bars, to the fenders, to the wheels, to the rims, everything took a long time because it just kind of, when I happened upon them. Then in the last 10 years, I started getting really serious about it. Yeah, so 10 years ago, I got serious. And that was when I got a call from one of our members of our club, and he had the sidecar. And what was funny was I had never met him before. He asked me where I was, and I said, well, I'm in South Winnipeg. And, well, so am I. And, you know, we go back and forth a few times, and it turns out, because I was sitting at my job, and I looked out the window, and I could see his house. That's how close that sidecar, which I had been looking for like, you know, a dozen years, was to me, but never knowing it was there. It takes a lot to build something from nothing. None of these parts on this bike were ever together. I got this fender from here and that from there, and you put them together. Now the best thing to do on a project like this is buy original parts. If it's original, it's got the right shape, it's got the right angle, it's got the right fit. It just fits. So the search for original parts took a long time, but well worth it. And now original parts are so expensive because they fit. I bought for example, like on the front fender, there's a trim piece. I got that trim piece 20 years ago. It was in an accident. You can see the scrape marks on it. It was pretty rough, but I kept it. So I ended up buying a new aftermarket piece. I got it home, I put it on, it didn't even fit close. To the point where I smashed it because I was so mad. So I ended up taking the original, rebuilding it, fixing all the scratches, reshaping it, and then repolishing it to what it is now. And even in a bent state in an accident, it still fit better than an aftermarket one. So that's the point you have to do, is you have to, when you commit yourself to something like this, is finding good parts. The whole point was of this bike to finish it in the time frame. I gave myself a deadline. It was to take my 5-year-old to school, which I ended up picking him up from his first day at kindergarten. And man, the smile on his face was worth all the work involved. When I picked him up, he was sitting in the sidecar. We're driving down the road. People were taking our pictures. He was waving like he was in a parade, and this was like a Friday afternoon. Like, it was just the coolest day. The kid loved it. He loved it. The last few years, I really concentrated on building this bike, and what it was, like a big drive of it was because I want to take my son riding. It's just hard watching all your friends weekend after weekend going riding, and you want to go with them, but you want to spend time with your son. So this is the best of both worlds. It works out phenomenal. And it's not about just going, it's not about going on a big ride. It's about, you know, going to the Safeway. It's about going to get groceries. Like, it's like grocery getter. We literally went grocery shopping with it, and, you know, just visiting people, because it's fun. It's fun to ride it. He gets a blast out of it. The people, of all my bikes, and I've got some unique stuff, this one has commanded the most attention by far. When I built this bike, I met so many people because I was looking for certain parts or whatever the case may be. And motorcycles do take, you know, bring people together. You know, my brother has a motorcycle, he's always had one. My sister's has dated guys with motorcycles. Yeah, I love it, and I know my son Waylon. You know, he has lots of uncles because they're all motorcycle guys, right? So they all come over, and they know him well because of the motorcycles. It's been. This is a 1953 Harley Panhead. Panheads were made from 48 to 65. This is a 74 cubic inch, 1200 cc, 4-speed with a foot clutch and a tank shift. Now, original Harleys with a sidecar would have had the option of a 3-speed and reverse transmission, but this thing is so light and it moves so easily, I didn't feel the need to lose the 4th gear in exchange for the reverse gear. It's a kickstart only. I have converted over to 12 volt electric because of rideability. Nothing against 6 volt bikes, but the lights are substantial. The lights suck, to put it bluntly. In building this bike, there was a lot of people that helped out with it. From the moment I bought the front fender or the rear fender off my painter, he cursed at me, but he did a phenomenal job. He did all the metal work, which included putting a new floor on the sidecar, new sides on the sidecar, rebuilding the fenders, including putting hinges, new rivets, you name it. And his name is Dan Hope, Dan Hope. The motor was done by Jim Forrest, aka Frosty's Motorcycles, out of Estevan, Saskatchewan. He had to do a lot of work on it. The cases had been blown out back in the 80s, and it was a challenge. At one point, he didn't know if he could actually fix it, but he did. So, everything internal is brand new. All new bearings, all new cams, all new lifters, valves, you name it. All that stuff is all new. Can't thank him enough for the work he's done and how good it runs. Transmission was rebuilt by Ron, aka Mojo, over at Innovative Cycle. And the bike shifts beautifully. It pulls hard. The chroming was done by House of Silver. Some of it by the new owner Rob, but a lot of it by Bob, who had passed away 7-8 years ago, and his work was phenomenal. So I'm blessed to have gotten some of this stuff done at the time because Bob was a master. He was a 3rd generation silversmith. When you're building a bike to this caliber, you have to surround yourself with good people. People who have the passion, people who have the knowledge, people who have the care. Because it's not all about the money. And that was very evident with a lot of the guys I dealt with. You know, they became part of the project. They're interested in it. They want to see it done. They're also motivated to do good work. So yeah, again, you have to surround yourself with good people.